Okay, it looks like it's thinning out outside, so we'll go ahead and get started. Purpose of tonight's meeting originally was to be an open house, a bit of a meet and greet so everybody could get face-to-face with all the elected officials and department heads. Unfortunately, about a week after we scheduled this, we ended up under a couple feet of water. And so the focus, of course, has changed from being a general inquiry to something that I'm sure is going to be very specifically focused. I would still like to maintain the opportunity, though, for those of you that would have any issues, questions, suggestions, whatever that's not related to water and sewer. We will address those as we get on, but quite frankly, as big of an issue as this water and sewer issue is, we're going to tackle that right up front. Before we get started, though, I would like to make some introductions, and the reason for that is I want you to see some of the folks that are here, because when we break from a group discussion, I want you to know who's here so that if you want to have any kind of one-on-one conversations with any of your trustees, department heads, so on and so forth, I want you to see where everybody's at. In the very back standing is our village clerk, Sue Lawrence. And if I could have the trustees stand, please. We've got Jeff Mull, Brady Duggar, Dan McCrae, Gerald Borland, Gary Bost, and Perry Withers. We have department heads here. I've got Chief Campbell from the fire department. Alex, where are you? There he is. I've got Chief Smock and Assistant Chief Welch from the police department. We have our zoning administrator, Tim Brown. And our public works director is up here with me, Rod Cheatham. So, like I said, as we break a little bit longer, if you've got some one-on-ones that you'd like to address, you know, we're here to deal with whatever you need. Before you leave tonight, if you haven't already, I do have some forms just outside the doors here. If you had water damage, it doesn't matter if it was this time or years past, I really need to collect the information, name, address, and what kind of an issue you had, whether it was a sewer backup or if it was surface water coming into the house. We're really trying to track all this so we can concentrate our efforts on where a lot of these problems are at. So that's it for what we're hoping to get accomplished here, other than the fact that when you leave here tonight, it's truly our intention for you to walk out of here fully informed with what the problem is with the water and sewer, what we have already done to address it, what we are doing yet this year, and what the long-term plans are for the next several years. I'm not gonna promise anybody a quick fix. It's been a long time coming, and it's going to take some years to get the entire system up to speed. However, we do have some plans in place that we think we can have some fairly significant impact in a relatively short time. So with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our Public Works Director, Rod Cheatham. And Rod's been with us since November of last year, so unfortunately, new on the job and got hit with, of course, a major flood back in December. Took about 6 inches then, and this one that we just had a couple of weeks ago. I think he's handled things very well, but I'm going to ask him to address this for you. If anybody here gets real technical, we do also have our water engineer in the house with us too. So our goal here is to be able to answer anything that you may have tonight. So, Rod.
Thank you all for coming tonight, taking time out of your schedule. Unfortunately, that represents that we don't have our house in order. And I also did notice that Sue got quite an applause whenever she was announced. So 8 months on the job, and we've had some pretty horrific rainstorms with horrible results. It's not normal for it to rain like it does. It's also not normal for when it does rain for us to take trash pumps out and start pumping sewage and for your basements to fill up with groundwater and with wastewater. And we're going to fix that. I don't accept it. The trustees don't accept it. And it will take us some time to get it addressed. But with the plan that we have in place, you will see immediate results. So I don't want to get too deep in the woods with what's going on with our system. Let me go through the system, and then after that, if you have some questions, then we'll do a question and answer. Most of our system is very old. Some of it so old that we don't even recognize how old it is. It's clay tile, and it is separated, it's infiltrating, and whenever we have storm like we have, excluding the 7-inch rain, but even a mild 3-inch rain, we bring pumps out to start pumping the lift stations. And the reason we do that is obviously not because you all are flushing the toilets more often because it rains. It's because the rainwater is infiltrating our system. We have cameraed a lot of the system as much as we could with other people's cameras, which we have purchased now. The rainwater enters the ground, it hits our pipes, it comes through the pores of our pipes, and it starts rushing toward our lift stations. The lift stations are not designed to handle that big of an influx, and so they go under. And whenever I mean they go under, their pumping capacity, there's nowhere for the water to go. In addition to that, we are surcharging all of the lines and our interceptor heading to Alton. So on many different levels, we have issues there. One of the issues that we have is it starts backing up into your homes if you don't have backflow preventers and if they're not properly maintained. If you do have backflow preventers, there's a possibility, and don't use this word as it's meant, but there are probably illegal taps for sump pumps and those types of things that are going into our sewer systems. And so they don't have backflow preventers, and so it starts backing up in that direction also. Additionally, we're pumping it out on the ground and into the ditches. Now, every time we do that, we have to notify the EPA and we have to fill out all the proper forms, but it's truly unacceptable. The way to fix these issues is, it's called CIPP. It's nothing more than building a pipe inside the pipe. We go in, we jet the lines, we camera the lines, we find out where the infiltration is. Once we identify that, we go in with a bag and pull this bag through. It looks like a big Chinese finger. We hit it with steam, it blows the bag up, and it cures in place. So now we have a new sewer line. We don't have to excavate. It goes through the manhole systems. We have to have a subcontractor come in to do that. It's very cost efficient, but it is costly compared to digging up the lines and replacing them. And it's pretty quick. The council and the mayor have allocated $250,000 this year for us to start doing this. That doesn't get a whole lot of lines, but we're getting started. The effect of that, obviously, it stops the infiltration. And I know you think, okay, well, when do you get to my neighborhood? Well, just because we're not going to be in your neighborhood doesn't mean you won't see the benefit. Whenever we go, right now, one of the biggest areas that we have is out by the airport. The airport's a big open field. It takes on a lot of water, and our lines have deteriorated to the point out there that those lines take in, they act like a field tile drain. And so whenever it rains out there, you actually have pipes in these lift stations that are at full capacity and blowing all the way across the wall of the lift station. So if we can start addressing that issue, then we're catching that water before we start pumping it through our system and going to the next lift station or going to the next interceptor and start surcharging the interceptor. So just because we're not fixing it in your neighborhood doesn't mean that you won't see a direct result of us fixing it on other parts of the town. It's all interconnected. All of the sewer lines connect to each other at some level. They all go into the same interceptor. They all head to Alton. And right now we're paying Alton a lot of money to treat a lot of rainwater. So once we start getting this system in place, we're going to start seeing a cost savings on the Alton end of the rainwater also, because we won't be paying them to treat that. The stormwater is a different scenario. 7.5 inches, there's probably no town, city, village that can handle a 7.5 inch rain in 4 or 5 hours. It's just not going to happen. I'm not making an excuse for some of the situations that we had out there, because we did have some situations that were preventable. And in talking with the mayor and the trustees, we have decided that in the fall, once the leaves get off the trees, once the poison ivy dies, that we are going to go into some of these ditch and drainage areas and start cleaning them out, even though technically they're not our responsibility. Technically, they are the homeowner's responsibility, even though that it is our water that goes through it. We are going to go out and start addressing these. The faster that we can get the water out of our city, the faster that you guys can start getting back to your normal life. That brings me to another topic of, and this is going to be a touchy topic, but I have to address it. Some of the catch basins and the storm sewers and the pipes that go through the storm sewers and the outfalls are at times overwhelmed with leaves and sticks and brush and those types of things that we have for many years taken out in the street. We take them out in the street if we can't get to them in time, and we can't, quite honestly. There's no possible way that we can get to all the brush in this town in a timely fashion. So it's in the curb line, it's in the ditch line. As soon as it rains, where's it going? It's going straight down in the storm drain. And so we were out during that 7-inch rain, and there was one area that was probably 3 or 4 feet of water on the pavement. We turned around, headed back the other way. 2 minutes later, it had pushed the plug of leaves through and drained that area. So we have to come up with a better system to address the leaves and the brush pickup. It is very costly for us also. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $160,000 to $180,000 a year is what we spend on going around picking up brush and leaves. In addition to, we're going to run out of somewhere to put them eventually. And I really need those guys working on sewers. We're going to need 4 men to be jetting and cameraing sewer lines as soon as our camera truck comes up. And that's going to be pretty directly. I don't know what the solution is there, but we are looking at options on that. So that takes care of the stormwater and the flooding. I know that you guys have got many issues, and I'm sure we're going to go off in the woods quite a bit. There's probably some issues that you'd like for me to address outside of those two topics that I'll be more than happy to. Everybody just be very respectful of each other, and everyone has their own priorities and want their own topic, and so let's just all give them time. Questions? Ma'am?
Structure is what, 100 years old in parts of town?
I wouldn't say in most, but in many.
And the solution with the sleeve, what's the lifespan of a plastic sleeve inside a pipe?
50 years?
Could you repeat the question?
She asked how old our infrastructure was in many of the parts of town, and she suggested 100. I think that might be a little bit much. And what is the life expectancy of going in and CIPP? Go ahead.
How about cleaning the ditches over like on Lee Street? About 70% of the ditches have been filled in. I talked to one neighbor of mine, and he won't let me clean the ditch for him because he can't cut his grass on his riding lawnmower. Cut over that area to help a lot.
You're right. There are a lot of flat parts in town that are near impossible to drain because they are so flat. That's one of them. And we did go out and do some ditching earlier this year, and then we had to get into the road rehab because that's a contractor that we have coming in. But that is going to be a scheduled maintenance program. Sir?
What are the purpose of the pump that you guys put out there in flood? And who decides where the pumps go in each of the subdivisions?
The pumps typically go into the lift stations in any of the troubles areas that we've had in the past, and they're actually evacuating out of the lift station.
It seems like when it happens, I drive around and the pumps are in the same neighborhoods all the time. It seems like those pumps should be rotated around to some of the other neighborhoods, like where I'm at Cutter Address. They're never there until after the fact. And we've had 3 or 4 floods here, you know, and I'm sure there's people from Cutter Address here, but I'm not tens of thousands of dollars. Who assigns the pumps and how do they do it?
As we said, typically we hit the lift stations. We have 13 of them, and that's typically where the pumps go whenever we go out. We're not trying to address rainwater. We're trying to address the sewage system from going down.
Cutter Address is the water coming back through the sewers. Are those
They're trying to, but on those types of rainfalls and in those events, it is impossible. There are times that we'll have those, it'll be 3 or 4 days before we can get those lift stations caught up.
Is it possible to get those pumps rotated around to different subdivisions instead of go back to the same ones that are flooded?
It is possible.
Who decides that where they go?
I do. So we will evaluate your area. You bet.
Along the lines of the pumps, we don't have enough, correct?
Uh,
We have 13, what you said?
We have 13 lift stations. We have more pumps, and the maintenance on them is ridiculous. But you know what? Pumps is not the answer. Fixing the infiltration's the answer.
And the 202,000, you're talking about the main concern is out towards the airport. It's gonna be addressed first, correct?
That is correct. Out towards the airport, Rue des Chateaux, those areas.
And the list you have outside, is that where you're gonna concentrate on next? Is trying to get a general area with the list going outside?
We won't really be able to evaluate that until we get our camera system up. I could sit here and play hypotheticals all day, but until we get the lines jetted and we bring the camera in, I really can't say. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I've been meeting with you before, it came 2 years back, I can't remember when, and I do appreciate the village putting in that info cover or whatever it is on those streets, because it really helped my report. But my question is, at the time that we had the meeting before, it was my understanding that they thought the airport might put in detention pond.
Keep in mind, I'm taking my cue from the mayor on that when I wasn't here. Apparently, they did put in a detention pond. Ma'am?
Regarding detention pond, the one that was created at the Cutter Out Jacks extension, on the blueprints on that, does it match what they put in?
Could you speak louder, ma'am? I'm sorry.
They have a detention pond that they put in at Cutter Out Jacks for the addition. Does it match the blueprints that were approved by the village? Was it built as it was approved?
It was not built as designed.
So therefore, the water that's flushing from that to the storm sewers to my creek behind my house, it can't handle what's in that detention pond?
That's very possible that it cannot handle the storm surge.
And
It is being looked at.
I understand that the engineer's here tonight. Is he the engineer that signed off on it, or no? He is not.
No, it's our engineer that's here tonight.
So, my question is, do they do a flow rate for the water that comes out of there before they design it, and then a flow rate afterwards?
There's mathematical calculations that the engineers do before they design it, whenever they realize what the watershed is for that area.
So then they can determine if it can handle where it went before?
That's correct.
So it's probably not handling because it wasn't designed according to the blueprint.
That would be speculation on my part at this time.
So we have a plan in place to fix the long-term issue. What is the plan for the short term in the event that we continue to have backups in our basement? And I'm not talking about rainwater seeping through the concrete, that's something that's gonna happen. But we are $50,000 to $60,000 in the last 18 months out of personal property. We don't have the use of our basement that was finished, it's not anymore. So what is the village going to do for those of us who are continuing to incur damage and the loss of property?
Our biggest concern too is if we ever try to sell our home, we have to.
Disclose. I understand that.
Which means our property values are all dropping, and it's to the point where we can't even afford to move. And I love Bethalto, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I almost can't afford to live here. I mean,
There's a lot of details to your question. Some of that I can't answer. There's no magic wand or silver bullet for this problem. It didn't get here overnight. It's not going to go away overnight. This is a culmination of 30 years of neglect. We're going to fix it and address it as fast as we possibly can. In the short term, I don't know if you have a backflow preventer. I would have one installed immediately. If you do, they need to be maintained, by the way.
I have them, and it pushed it out.
Yeah, and that's very possible whenever you get a lot of pressure. Yep, and whenever you get that much pressure, those types of things do fail. I'm just trying to throw out some ideas that may help. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that if it rains next weekend and we have 7 inches, that it's not going to happen again, because it will. I can't stop it.
Right now, every time it storms, we wake up. I have alarms downstairs, I have automatic pumps.
Every time it storms, I wake up.
So then a follow-up to that then is, I understand what you're saying, but as citizens of this village, a backflow valve is anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000, depending on who you get an estimate from. So because this is a continuing issue of Bethalto's, I don't understand, I mean, obviously, the village doesn't want to go around and pay $3,000 per house to put in a backflow valve, but I don't understand why we should continue to incur those expenses when it's not something, if I was flushing things down my toilet that weren't supposed to be there and backed up, that's my problem. But the village knew there was a problem this whole time and didn't fix it. So what is the village going to do to make us whole? Because we're not.
I understand your question, and that's above my pay grade.
So,
All right, so the question was the cost to put backflow preventers in, and what the village could possibly do to make people whole on the losses. I'm going to reiterate one thing that Rod said, that there's no way I can offer a quick fix to anybody. Rod also mentioned this is, literally decades of neglect. It is. And it's our responsibility to fix it. Okay, and we've got a plan in place, we're moving forward with it. As far as what has happened to all of you now, and again, I'll give you some information here, but I got to be, I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying here. We do pay a lot of money out every year for insurance. For those of you who have sustained a loss, you do have the option of filing a claim with our insurance company. I cannot stand here and tell you, yeah, you're going to get a payment, or no, you're not. About 8 months ago, we switched carriers, and we don't have any history with this one yet. Gallagher. Prior to that, the group that we were with routinely, within 3 days of the claims, would just automatically deny, act of God, we're not paying. What I'm optimistic about with what I'm seeing with the new group here is we've had claims in for almost 2 weeks now, and some coming in just as recently as yesterday. I've had numerous phone calls from claims adjusters from the insurance agency. They are, instead of just writing everything off, they are looking into these. Now, again, I'm not making a commitment to anybody as far as what's going to happen here. I'm just telling you that I am encouraged by what I'm seeing from the insurance company. So there again, anybody here, if you've had damage, you're certainly entitled to make a claim with our carrier if that's what you wish to do. Have I answered? I know you probably didn't hear exactly what you wanted, but did I cover everything?
you covered it, but I don't think it's a dead issue.
Okay. And understand. Steve?
So listen, I did file a claim.
Okay.
With the city's insurance company after the December flood.
Okay.
I had about $35,000 worth of damage,
Okay.
structural damage and property damage. I received a letter from them rejecting, saying that the city didn't have to provide sewer upgrades or improve the sewer system by law. So this is from the CCMSI, the designated third-party administrator for the Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association.
Municipal League.
Insurance with,
No, our current carrier is Gallagher.
well, as
I think
end of January, you had this, this is March. This letter,
when,
March the 2nd.
hold on one second.
I worked with Susan, she knows about it.
I'm sorry, did you say that was the old carrier? Okay, maybe I'm mistaken on Gallagher. When did Gallagher's? January 1st, okay, sorry. All right, so January 1st is when we made the switch. Yeah, yeah. I think that was about December, what, 26th?
So, I mean, for me personally, the city's still liable for those losses. So, at some point in time, I mean, I may try to address that.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I'm just telling you, this insurance company rejected all of it.
okay. And that's,
It's in an adjuster outlet.
right, and that's what the point I was making here a few minutes ago was that is what we dealt with previously. This group seems to be taking these much more seriously. Now, what the end result's going to be, I don't know. I don't think there's been any determinations yet. But like I say, I'm optimistic that they are actually out working these. Yes, ma'am.
So I must be confused, because previously you said that whether it was this time or prior to fill out the forms.
Yes.
Why would he not be able to fill out new forms for his December situation?
Well, because that would have been covered under the previous insurance. But what I was asking for, the paperwork I have back there, that is for our own internal use, trying to identify exactly where the worst hit locations are. What I've got up there has nothing to do with insurance.
And then as far as this time, if you want to file claims through insurance through Bethalto, where do we get those from?
Up at Village Hall at our office. We've got the forms available. You can either pick them up, we can email them to you. If you want to bring them back in the office, if you've got photos, receipts, anything else, we'll package the whole thing up and send it off for you. Yes, sir.
You said that you had $250,000 coming from the trustees. Is that from our city's money?
That's your money.
Okay. Now, how about state and federal programs? Is there anything we can do to expedite this even faster?
Grant-wise, no. And the reason it has to do combination of population and the size of the budgets. Quite frankly, anytime there's grants with the sewers and that, typically it is the smaller and usually rural communities. The IEPA does have a low-interest loan program. I can tell you we've been very, very gun-shy about borrowing money. However, we did have a meeting last night, and we realized that we may have to expedite our schedule here. We really, when we put this plan together late last year, we were looking at be literally 8 to 10 years to get through the entire system, border to border. Now, we think we can do the worst parts of it in considerably less time. However, we've got a situation here that maybe we may have to stop some other projects in order to funnel additional cash into this water and sewer, because obviously this is a quality of life issue. I mean, we fully recognize that, and it's got to be fixed. So an EPA loan is a possibility if we decide that we're going to borrow money. Bear in mind, too, though, that even if I had $1 million to throw into it right now, there's only so much manpower, so we would be looking at contracting some folks to come in here. So there's a balance there that we're going to have to find. But do you recall how many feet we were looking at?
9,000.
Okay, about 9,000 feet, and where the focus started already this year was the lift station located on Fairway, which is up by Zion Church. And the reason that we started there is because when that lift station goes down, it creates a domino effect. Everything, all the lift stations behind it, then they fall too. So our purpose there was to try and get that one straightened out. Rod has identified, quite frankly, a very surprising amount of water that's coming out of the airport, and that's why you heard earlier that we need to go to the head of the source and eliminate all that water coming in, and that will have a positive impact, everything coming downstream. But this is, this is a situation that we know we're going to be doing this for years to come. So it's just a matter of trying to get the worst of it out of the way. I'm sorry? Sure.
One of the things that I failed to mention was that as I described all this ties together, we also take sewage from neighboring communities, and their system is just as poor as ours. There are some systems that we've documented a normal month would be 4 million gallons, and we've got months from them that are 65 million gallons. So they have just as much infiltration as we have. And so we're going to have to be addressing those surrounding communities to start fixing their infrastructure also.
I've listened to you here, and I've listened to some of the problems that you've come up with. I'm going to offer you a couple solutions. One solution, you're talking about the brush, the cost, the amount of money it costs to pick up the brush and everything. I know times it takes a lot of time before they get there. One of the solutions I would offer is other municipalities, they have dumpsters. Not everybody has the pickup truck or the means to move it, but those who do have the means to move it, could have a pickup truck. If you had a spot where you could bring the brush and the leaves back.
We can start addressing these one at a time as you go, if you don't mind. We discuss this one at a time. So let's hit the first one, and then we'll go to the next one. One of the issues with that is, so you taxpayers bring in dumpsters, and every community in the area uses your dumpsters. Okay, those dumpsters are for you. You paid for them, not the people in Wood River or Alton or anywhere else. And trust me, it does happen. Whenever we had the dumpsters up at City Hall, right next to the police station, mind you, there were people from all over this area using the dumpsters that you all paid for. So that's one of the reasons why we haven't done that solution.
Although those dumpsters that were there for the flood, I found out from a neighbor. I didn't know they were there. And so here's a lot of people that would like to have use for that, but they were unaware that it was there.
Well,
That's one solution.
I'm sorry.
We were never informed of the dumpsters either. We just happened to drive by and see them and assumed that they were.
I don't know how that went out. We'll be able to, did they go on the website or paper? I don't know.
We did a release on it.
Okay. We'll get more effective about that, by the way.
Everybody use the mic so we can all hear the questions.
Yes.
We can't hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, go back to him.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, thank you. My second solution, you said when we were going to start on the projects, on the piping, that is going to be about $250,000. Is that correct?
That's what we have allocated at this point.
Okay. Now, I don't know politics, how they move money from here to there, but I do remember reading in the paper that they're going to build a splash park at the tune of about $250K. Is that correct?
I think that's a good place that you're going, and let me explain that to you. Funding cycles. And so funding cycles in a government aren't like in your home. You know, you have an income that comes into your home, and you can divvy it out however you choose. It's not like that in government. With government, we have specific funding cycles and budgets that are allocated for only those things, and by law, that's all they can be spent on. For instance, the splash pad. That would come out of there is a grant available for that, and the rest of it would come out of the general fund, okay? The park, the bicycle path, that has been applied through ITEP, which is Illinois Transportation Improvement Program, and the balance of that, and I'm going to make these numbers up, it's $1 million. So we get 80-20 split on that. So there's 800,000 of it that's funded through the feds. That leaves us with a balance of 200,000. So then you'd go to Metro East Park and Rec, which we have done, and their funding cycle is they'll pay half, so they'll match us. So that leaves us with 100,000 to spend on it. So we got $1 million project for $100,000. We couldn't use the monies that were being paid for that particular program out of MFT to fix sewer lines, MFT being motor fuel tax. There's rules and regulations on different budgets. And so while you may see a project that's moving forward and the lack of another project on the other side, it may be because there's just not money funding on this particular program.
And that's unfortunately what I thought. My question is, when we go through here and repairing these pipes, okay, with the Chinese finger as you were talking, will that repair a collapsed pipe or are you gonna have to excavate that?
No, collapsed pipes will have to be dug up. Those are point repairs, and we'll have to dig them up before we come in and line them.
Okay, with that done, when your pipe, say you've got all your pipe all sleeved, it's all taken care of. The problem is, you've got an old system, you keep building houses, Patriots Crossing, Shiver Farms. Now you're adding on to a system that's already probably overloaded. And I hear retention ponds. What is the game plan down the road? Because like I said, they just keep building and building and building. Anywhere there's an open area field, they're gonna rape the land and build houses there. So what's the plan down the road?
Well, we also have infiltration in our interceptor. And I think once we can address our interceptor, or perhaps we may have to build a bigger interceptor, that'll address that. With the newer stuff, as we build it, we're going to try and design it to where it doesn't go into overwhelmed lift stations.
That's my questions.
Great, great questions, all of them.
Thank you. I wanted to take it just a slightly different direction. I'm Bill Pyatt. I'm the new pastor of the Methodist Church, and I don't have an easy solution, but we provided flood cleanup buckets to those who needed a 5-gallon bucket with cleaning supplies, bags, gloves, supplies that may be helpful. The next time you're flooded out, the next day we'll have up to 100 buckets to give away. We still have 72 buckets we can give away. If you want to prepare for your next flood cleanup, you're welcome to come down to the Methodist Church and pick up a complimentary bucket.
Fantastic, and thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a question. You said that funds were spent for certain jobs. The money that comes in from the water and sewer department is just tagged for water and sewer, correct?
That is correct. That's how it should be tagged.
Then the money that is set aside for sewer projects, where's that at?
That'll be coming out of the sewer fund.
Okay? How much is in that right now? 4 big jobs, how much do they have banked?
I don't have that information with me at this point.
Okay.
I'd hate to give you a ballpark
That's
number.
okay.
There's a little.
But a percentage of the income is supposed to be for, I want to call it capital outlay.
Excuse me. There's a little over, probably about $425,000 in the capital outlay account right now.
There is.
And that's
What-
aside from the water and sewer.
What happened to the rest of the capital outlay? Because there was a lot in capital outlay.
You're right. There was a lot of money in all of the special accounts.
What happened to it?
It was gone when I got in there.
Okay, my next question, was it misused?
I can't say that.
Okay.
I can't. I don't know.
I just,
It was.
I
It was.
just have questions because.
Sure, I understand.
If that money is set aside for projects,
Mhm.
and then you get grants and you have to subsidize,
Well,
Where?
we have been, we've been working hard on the budget. We've got almost all of the restricted accounts, the special accounts, back up to fairly good-sized balances.
because they are restricted, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So we haven't been touching those. You know, there are occasions where you can pull money out of some of those under very strict circumstances. We have not even been doing that the last few years.
And these lines that you're going to do, these sleeves, how much are they per sleeve?
It runs on the diameter of the pipe per foot.
So this 250,000 that you have, that you're going to give them to do?
We
How many-
budgeted, the 250,000 we budgeted out of the actual sewer account.
Okay.
Now, right now, that is not touching the
capital.
capital improvement, which we could take it out of there for that. But our goal is to try to get some of these balances of a sizable enough that if we would have a major issue, because quite frankly, my big scare is the actual interceptor that runs literally from Meadowbrook all the way out to the far western edge of town.
And what is the cost to replace that?
Probably, were we at about 4 million on that? Does that sound about right? $4 to $5 million.
Does that qualify for the EPA loan or the?
It could. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That would.
Yeah. But my personal goal is to get those balances built up, because we did have a problem 2 years ago. We had 3 separate collapses in that interceptor over a course of only about 3 or 4 months. And that was a real wake-up call. Fortunately, it turned out that we just had a single 400-foot section that was bad. But the concern, of course, is with 3 or 4 miles of that line, there may be some others out there. So we've been very, very protective of that capital improvement account, trying to get that balance built up, because we may hit a rainy day and have to have that money quick. Oh, there you are.
Mayor, you and the Public Works Director came out to our property. Have you guys ran into any more problems where you couldn't believe there wasn't a catch basin in the corner of that?
I don't know about Rod, but yours was one of the most bizarre I've ever seen.
Yeah, where it floods the entire easement right into the raw sewer right there. So I didn't know if you guys have that elsewhere. Or
I'm quite certain that we do.
Yeah, Rod's response was there probably are more of them. But yours is the only one that's come up that we're aware of.
Do you have a timeline on certain areas possibly that do need catch basins to alleviate the water from running and
The only timeline,
the other sewers?
yeah, the only timeline that I can give you right now is on the work that we've already started. Well, which quite frankly is over in your neighborhood, is the camera work we're hoping to get started within just the next couple of weeks. And shortly after that is when we'll start the lining process. So our goal is to have that particular area wrapped up here by the end of the year.
Can you put a PDF or something on the village website that shows the stages and the areas and the lift stations and what you're addressing? So we at least know, and there's transparency for what's coming down the line?
Okay, so the question was if we could put a PDF on the website that showed the location of the lift stations.
And the areas that are getting work, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Okay, location of.
Knowing that things may get juggled because.
Charlie?
Yes, that'd be very easy to do.
Isn't there an opportunity for us to be able to give them a link that they can get into the Madison County site?
Well, you can get into your own website, we can post maps on your website that you can provide updates to.
Okay, so the question was, could we post maps on the website that would show you where the different lift stations are and where the phases of the work is currently at whenever you look at it? And the answer is yes, we can certainly do that.
Mayor, we spoke a little earlier about Green Acres and the surface water flooding. My question is, does the city have any responsibility to the surface water in the yards? That's one question. And the second question is, if I would haul dirt in and raise the level of my yard, that water's going to go somewhere else. Is that a liability for me?
I'm going to pass that one right on to the expert.
Yeah, the short answer to that, as Charlie's describing, is yes, it is. If you've got a natural waterway going through your area, you cannot dam that up and deflect it to someone else.
Well, this is not really when we get heavy rains. I'm not talking about the 7-inch rain. The 7-inch rain kind of about half of the Green Acres subdivision. But anytime we get a heavy rain, the neighbor's lot, my lot, and the third neighbor over gets water. I've wondered if the city would have any responsibility as far as to pumping that out. We have an alley behind us, and a lot of the water comes off of the alley.
My first response, not knowing exactly what your situation is no, we would not have a responsibility for that.
Okay.
I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but
I have one more question. Regarding the creek, you said that if it flows through your property, the resident is responsible for it?
that is correct.
My question is, it eroded so badly from this flush of water from the detention pond. If I had a bridge that went across my property, it took it. So if I had any type of riprap or anything on the sides, it would have taken it, and the end of the creek that flows behind my house to Grant, it's almost L-shaped. It would have dammed it up immediately, and that's been part of the problem before. But this water is surging so much that it's eroding. The creek used to be a little narrow creek, and now it's just a full-fledged, and it overflows. So how can I be responsible when the erosion isn't from me?
Well, actually, that's why we're going to come out and help you. But per state statute, it would be your responsibility. It's on your property. It's just the natural flow of water. But we are going to come out and help you. Not just you.
Hey, Rod,
Yes, sir.
Austin Op, I have a lot of properties down in Shelview. I told you I probably didn't need this.
Easy, Austin.
Shelview, Sheridan, and the water that was coming through Shelview, Sheridan was 90% of the problem was the fences. I filmed it all. I waded through it. I went to the storm sewer to see if they were open. Every fence from Shelview all the way through to Park Street was leafed up. It had kids' toys, furniture. The water was 2 foot high on one side of the fence and 1 foot high on the other side of the fence. So we don't get these normal 7-inch rains like this. But with all the fences and the vinyl fencing and the fencing, you're killing yourselves. If your backyard isn't cleaned up and you're in a waterway, you're kidding yourself, because they were damming up water 3 foot high.
That's an excellent point.
It's on Sheridan, and there was no storm sewer in the world going to take care of what I saw. But my question is it possible to apply for purchase of some of these waterway homes that are constantly at high risk?
There again, that would be above my pay grade.
My second question is there a retention pond on where they took all the runway parts and stuffed them in the ditch there, right there across from Dairy Queen? Is there any plans for a detention pond in that area? Because that is the pond that's needed to stop the water going through Rotary Park, behind Denise's, all the way down through there.
There is a detention pond on the airport property, but it's over by Liberty Bank, so it's considerable ways from where you're talking about. I agree that that area that you're talking about, because of the fact that that is where so much of the groundwater comes from, well, that's where, I mean, from there, it runs down through Cutter Aljets, down behind Michael Court, all the way down in behind Sage Creek, I mean, all the way across town. That is a major waterway when we have the rain there. So that probably is a very good spot for something like that. Now, what I don't know is that an issue for the airport to build one there because of its proximity to the end of the runway? So there's a little bit of work that we're going to have to do to figure that out, because they're real skittish about creating habitat for waterfowl.
Well, as you recall, you and I were in the same meeting up at the Senior Citizen Center, and the same subject was discussed 2 years ago, and we asked Mr. Miller, is it possible to apply for federal grants for an aquatic runway so that you build a detention pond and an aquatic runway at the same time and use federal money? 2 years ago, that question was asked.
Yeah, I don't know if, to my knowledge, they haven't done anything with that.
Can the mayor shed any light on why these problems were neglected for so long by previous administrations?
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Can you shed any light on why these problems were neglected for so long by previous administrations?
No. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope that didn't sound glib. That was not the intent. But I mean, that was before me arriving on the scene. I was not involved in any of those decisions, and quite frankly, I'm of the position, whether it's finances or water and sewer, whatever happened in the past is in the past, and my job now that I'm here is to fix all of this. So that's where I'm at with it.
I know we live in Illinois, but I think the frustration is, you know, I sit here, I work in St. Louis, I think my kids are raised. I don't know what keeps me here. I like Bethalto, but I pay $6,000 a year, and we do have a backup valve in our house that a previous homeowner had to deal with, so that's been going on for a long time. So when you have one of those shut-off valves, you don't get to use your toilet the whole time that's on. You have to go down and crank it 29 times, and then you can't use I mean, at least it doesn't come into our basement, although sometimes it still does back up. But it's just the amount of taxes that we pay here to have what? Like, that's really where I'm at. Like, I don't.
Okay.
And I appreciate that you're trying to do something about it now, but it's been going on for a really long time.
Well, let's talk about taxes for a minute. I'll stray from the sewer here, but I mean, it's a good opportunity. You mentioned you pay, did you just say 6,000? Do you know how much of that? I'm sorry?
For a small ranch home.
Okay, do you know how much of that stays here in the village? 14%. So basically on a 4,000, I know this from personal experience, if your tax bill is about $4,000, $588 stays here. So, you know, you've got so many other taxing bodies that are dipping into that money. You've got Lewis and Clark Community College, the library district, the school, I'm sorry?
I said, don't bring us up second.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
The value of our houses go down, so our tax money will go down when it sells.
It will.
We'll get less money.
I know, but I'm going to finish this one first. So anyway, the bottom line is, for most of us, we have, 7 or 8 different taxing bodies that all take a piece of that property tax. So, like I say, on a $4,000 bill, $588 is staying here, and for $588, you know, you're getting police protection, fire protection, streets, street lighting, parks, you know, everything that is offered by the village. And I think to try and really put this into a good context is you're probably paying 3 times that amount of money for cable TV every year. Where's the impact? So I'm just trying to point out here that I know taxes are horrible. I mean, it's ridiculous to think you're paying $4,000 or $5,000. But I don't want people thinking that whole amount of money is coming here and we're just, well, sorry, it's just gone. We don't know what to do with it. Our percentage is very, very small.
You addressed earlier that there was some illegal tap-ons. I just wanted to know what steps are being taken or will be taken to identify residents that are discharging sumps and downspouts into our city sewer.
Smoke testing. We put a smoke generator into the sewer lines, put it under pressure, and then, quite frankly, we'll see it coming up the downspouts, or a resident will probably be calling the fire department because their house is filling up with smoke. So either way, we're going to find it. Tim, we got one up here. Oh. I get it. We're operating on the principle that water's heavier than smoke. So we still should have we should be able to find those relatively quickly.
I would like to note that I actually don't pay that much for cable a year. I don't pay for cable. So I pay that money in taxes. Plus, since we bought our house 9 years ago, we paid $5,000 for Woods waterproofing. We got a backflow valve. We pay $20 extra a month to our insurance in case our basement floods, because half of our square footage is in our basement. It's finished. And then he noted earlier that you know that the main issue is at the airport area, which is, I live on Bristol Court off of Hom. Everyone on my cul-de-sac floods, regardless of what we have done. And then this last rain and the last December when they all flooded, we never have seen a pump in our neighborhood. And if you know that that's where the main issue is, I know you said that you're going to the, whatever they were called, the stations. Why aren't they in the areas that you know are the worst?
Well, the closest lift station to you is the one at Prairie and 140. So that one always gets a pump.
Yeah.
Because that's one of our main ones, but.
Closer to the airport, which you said that there's what's that?
Terminal also gets one. What's the other
there's one on the airport property, all the way out, what's the closest? It's out by the business park. But the one closest to you would be Prairie and 140, and that one does always get a pump. When he made the reference of the airport being a big problem, the reason it's such a big problem for us is because that's where it all starts. You know, from the other side of the property, everything literally goes south down into Wood River. But when you're actually up there on the airport property, we start catching a lot of that flow. So the concern that we've got is the amount of water that's coming through there. Even during dry times, there's a large amount of water always flowing through that lift station there. So we know we've got a huge infiltration issue. So I'm not saying it's the biggest problem in the system, but it makes sense that we start it at the head.
So that's where you're going to start running the new pipes, in that neighborhood?
Well,
in that
we've
area?
got an area that we've already started on over around Fairway Street. We're going to finish that this year, okay? Because that lift station is key to the entire system. So we're trying to protect that one as best we can. But when we're talking about the infiltration issue, we're going to the head of the problem to try and stem it from there.
So Fairway and then that neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay. And
Now,
then
I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're going to see us out there digging up holes in your neighborhood.
I'm ready.
Well,
There's a lot of water.
I get it, but what
The
we'll be
mosquitoes
doing,
are awful while I'm on it because of the standing water, constant standing water, and the mosquitoes in our neighborhood are horrible.
okay, so we're probably actually talking about a different issue here, and yours is actual surface water.
Well, no, when the last rain came, the water, again, we have all these waterproofing things in place at our home. We have the drain in the basement, like I think everyone does. The water was shooting up, just water, not sewer, so I'm thankful for that, and I count my blessings, shooting up to my knees. And I didn't have a drain. We've never, in 9 years, never had that situation happen. I had my 9-year-old son, I'm not kidding, stand on a plunger to slow the flow as my basement filled with water. So yeah, there's surface water, but it's a deeper issue. All of the houses too, everyone in that cul-de-sac was flooding. I mean, because it's shooting up through our drains. And it's not supposed to do that, is it? I mean,
No.
isn't that drain to go out?
I talked to one of our residents that the pressure was so great it actually blew the toilet off of the basement floor.
There was someone in our neighborhood who put his plug in and his basement floor cracked.
Yeah.
Because of the pressure. That's insane.
It is. Never seen anything like it. But anyway, the plan is starting at the head of the problem and working our way through.
So when do you expect to be in that neighborhood? Since that you think it's coming that way?
I
When,
would, yeah, probably next spring. Would that be reasonable?
Hopefully sooner, it depends, because that'll be a contractor, it depends on what the contractor's schedules are. Typically, at this time of year, they've got most of their schedules set, but we'll find out as soon as we get our RFPs back, request for proposals.
Okay, so that's going to be the next area to go to. Yes, ma'am.
Earlier, she had actually asked a question about how much money was in the fund for the sewage and the water and all that, and you stated that the money was gone when you got in there, and you don't know if it was, you don't know if the money was misused or not?
I absolutely am not saying it was misused. I'm just saying that.
I understand you said that you didn't know how it was used. Is there going to be any way to answer that? I'm sure we all want to know what happened to the money that we paid in for, not just, I don't know what happened to it.
Well, my best guess is that a lot of the money was transferred from a fund that had a balance in it to a fund that probably had a weaker balance. But I'm not suggesting in any way that there was any improprieties there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, we
We'd all
audited
kinda
every
like
year.
to know where it went.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly.
I just wanted to say one thing real quick. I know that you said that you had water coming up through the floor drain and that wasn't sewage. I just want to make sure that you guys are reiterating that is sewage. It may not be completely 100% sewage, but it is water infiltrated with sewage.
If it's coming up through your drains or through your appliances, it's sewage.
Yes, and so that's.
It will look clear because it's rainwater.
Yeah. There's a lot of our neighbors that thought that's groundwater.
Yes.
Because they've been told
It's
that.
been a perpetuating thing for so many years.
Well,
People didn't know, so
typically when this happens, especially when we have such a huge amount of water like we did, it's going to appear to be relatively clear. And that's because it is mostly rainwater. But if it comes up to the drains, I guarantee you there is sewage in there. Yeah, sure. Yes, sir.
I live in the Cutter Algets. The extension to Cutter Algets is directly back behind where I live.
Mhm.
The retention ponds are right, the retention area is right behind where I live. And you and I went back and forth several times last year over email with me sending pictures and voicing my concerns about the maintenance of that area.
Mhm.
Every time it rains, and my neighbor here can attest, that whole area becomes a river. A lot of the problem is that retention area is so unmaintained year-round. Construction debris, pallets, wood, you name it, trash is plugging up that whole area that it interrupts the flow. All of our basements get flooded. When it does finally break loose, people down the way, they get absolutely hammered because now suddenly the rush comes through.
Mhm.
Is there anything in place to hold whoever is accountable for that area to actually maintain it and stop that issue?
Can we enforce like a regular inspection or?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
No, you can handle that one.
No.
It's in the covenants
Okay.
of the subdivision.
Okay, director tells me it's in the covenants of the subdivision, that regular inspections are supposed to be a requirement, so I can't enforce the civil side of it. The covenants are totally separate. However, that there is a responsibility of the homeowners association there. We can force that issue.
Homeowners association?
I've seen the covenants. I mean, you do, I don't know, I'm sorry?
It's in the addition.
Yeah. Are you in one of the newer homes?
No, we're one of the older homes.
Okay.
We're on West Sherman.
Okay, well, there is a homeowners association and all of the paperwork that I've seen on that.
So who do I go to address this situation?
I'll be glad to take the lead on that. So if you want to call me, I can make the contacts. Okay? Okay. Okay.
Nobody has a clue.
How about if I pull those documents up and I can make them available to you and the neighbors so we can look at that and see? Can be.
That the builder is responsible until there's 50% of the residents.
Rod's telling me that it's a builder issue until 50% of the lots are sold or homes are built?
Correct. Lots are sold, I believe.
Till 50% of the lots are sold. I think you're probably over that.
I think it's probably right at that.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute, he's got somebody back there. Yes.
Am I on?
Yep, you're on.
So I heard you earlier address a short-term solution for homeowners might be to install these backflow preventers.
Backflows or check valves.
Internally or externally, which are we talking about?
Both.
Both? Okay. So let's say, hypothetically, I install that in my home. The water's got to go somewhere, so it's going to go to my neighbor? How is that a...
More than likely, if you've got that issue going on, it's going to your neighbor anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, the entire street had to take off work to keep the city grates from filling with muck.
The little bit of excess that you're allowing, and I shouldn't rephrase it as a little bit of excess you're allowing in your home. I know it's a great amount of excess to us as homeowners, but as the system-wide, that is just being pumped out through the pumps in the lift station anyway. So you're not damaging your neighbor by putting a backflow preventer in your home.
If everybody does that, what does it do to the system?
We're pumping anyway.
I understand, but
So,
we're talking about they
I
crack
mean-
the foundations of their floors. Does that then the homeowners?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, where did you not hear me? Okay. If you put a backflow preventer in your home, you're really not going to be affecting your neighbor's home because we're already at maximum capacity. We've already got pumps out. That's why you're starting to get back up in your home. So your neighbor's already getting back up in their home. If that's the case, if you're putting backflow preventers on, you're not affecting your friends, your neighbors, anybody, because we've already are at maximum capacity. We're already pumping, and you're already getting infiltration.
So then we as a collective should all do this. Where's the village going to chip in on this?
There again, that is above my pay grade. I can't answer that question. I'm the Public Works Director.
I mean, I'll provide the materials, you provide the labor.
There again, I can't answer that.
It should be thought about.
I think the mayor and the council.
Having a major part of the problem. It's not the older homes, it's the new ones. The newer ones have new rock all the way around their sewer pipes, and that water comes right down the street, follows that rock right up your house, right underneath your house into your sump pump pit, and then you have to pump it out. So I've installed double pumps. In some of my high-risk area, I have mechanical plugs that come into the floor and mechanically tighten up so it can't come back up. Because I've dealt with this for 30 years in some of these homes.
And I understand what he's saying, and he is correct in that, but that doesn't negate our responsibility to fix these sewers. That's the real problem, is for us to fix the
So
sewers.
then what I'm understanding, then the new population that's coming in is adversely affecting the existing houses, the older houses.
Well, I think
My house
that-
was built in 1951, and it's progressively gotten worse in the 7 years that I've lived in it.
I think that's probably true on all of the infrastructure in probably any community. I think that the newer influx changes the entire dynamic of the community as far as even traffic, water supply, watershed. I mean, it's not just related to sewers.
So if that's indeed the short-term solution for us, then maybe that's where we need to be focusing and budgeting all the while working towards the long-term solution as well.
I don't disagree with that, but I think the logistics and the cost and the legalities, those are all out of my pay grade. That's a mayor trustee issue.
I just had a quick question. So when you're pumping this water, where do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I know exactly where it's going. It's going in the ditches, it's going in the storm drains, and eventually it's heading to the tributary.
But you're just basically rerouting it
That's exactly right.
back to our homes again.
I don't like it any more than you do.
We had 2 homes that were severely damaged, and our homeowners doesn't cover it, flood insurance doesn't cover it, nothing covers it. What do? We're taxpayers. We pay our money, we pay our insurance, and we're at a loss.
I understand that, and I do feel for you. I really do. I understand, and I'm addressing it as quickly as I can on my end. That's about all that I can do, is continue to fight it. You know, I've only been here 8 months. I'm going to fight it. The trustees are going to fight it. The mayor's going to fight it. We're going to attack this, but it is going to take some time.
The other thing, the gentleman that talked about building his yard up,
Yes.
I mean, we're kind of left with no resources. We can't do anything to reroute this water. And it's just getting, like she said, progressively worse. What are we supposed to do? We lost a wall.
Yes.
We lost a whole basement.
I am sorry. I truly am. I'm not going to sit here and tell you something that's not true. We're going to address the issue as fast as we can, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later.
I have a house on Sheridan, and I have a house on Sheridan and a house on Clover and Meadowbrook.
Which one experienced the wall collapse, if you don't mind me asking?
Clover. Sheridan was the one that had 4 feet of water.
Okay.
Over the wall collapsed, and you were talking about having
the pumps from Meadowbrook deteriorating.
And so,
Hi, my name's Mona
Yes.
Duggar. I live over here on Strobeck Lane. And I moved in '86, concrete block house built in the 50s. And of course, you know, it leaks like a sieve. I've done everything interior, exterior that we could possibly do on it. Back years ago, the Village of Bethalto's water department offered a solution to some problems with the sewer tiles that were the old clay ones, where actually we paid for it ourselves on our water bill on the monthly installment plan, and it took us years to, you know, get it put off or paid off, but the city actually put it in. A lot of people, I'm sure, don't have the resources monetarily to do things like, you know, installing of these pump or, you know, block off
Backflow
things,
preventers.
backflow things. Is there something that the village could possibly look into obtaining some kind of help with those kind of solutions for these people?
Are you talking about the laterals that come out of your home?
Yes.
Historically, and I can't speak to that because I wasn't here, historically, the laterals that come out of your home is the homeowner's responsibility. And even though there's probably some infiltration that is there that would need to be addressed, we have, it would be a very small amount compared to what we're dealing with in the mains that we need to address. The infiltration that you're getting into your small pipe, your 4 or 6 inch pipe that you have there is minimal for us is in addressing that issue.
But what I'm speaking to is all these people that are telling you how many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that they're spending to put these backflows into their home as, you know.
The infiltration that they're receiving is not coming from those pipes that you're discussing right now getting replaced. It's coming from the mains and the lift stations.
Okay. But there would be no way that the city or the village itself would help these people to be able to afford to have these put into their homes.
You're asking us to basically operate as a bank on that, to loan it?
Basically, you did it years ago to help me and other people to replace the old clay tiles that were leaking. I'm just throwing something out there.
All right, yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, and we're all for hearing suggestions.
We're all in this together,
My-
and
My first guess, I don't know that we legally could do that.
I have a tough time with that also.
We'll certainly look into it, see if it's a possibility, or if we can find a local lender that might do some sort of a special program for these projects.
yeah, absolutely. Anything to help these people.
Have we discussed a bond issue?
I personally would hate to do that. I would hate to take that back to the well again whenever we probably should have been doing that the entire time.
20 years of looking busy is too late. You have to think about doing something now, right?
Yeah, but I'm just going to give you my personal opinion here. Unless our back is totally against the wall, I do not want to generate any additional debt. The debt that this village has right now is crushing. Our cash flow is absolutely miserable. I'm just not for going out and you know, getting a $2 or $3 million bond. It would have to be something of almost biblical proportions for me to say, yeah, we need to go ahead and do this.
Are we still at 12 million debt?
Closer to 9.
It's on.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I'm here partly for my mother-in-law. She's 96, lives at 619 North Prairie. She's lived there 72 years. Her basement's been flooded 18 times, so a lot of people don't have it so bad. But I moved here 2.5 years ago in Patriots Crossing. I'm all the way at the end, and I've been flooded twice. I do have 2 sump pumps in the basement, which pump a lot. But my question on that part of it was, that ditch that runs between the cornfield, the Baptist church, down through there behind Villa Rose, and it flooded Roosevelt, I think, the other day also, and 140. That needs to be cleaned, widened. Is that up to the engineering of Patriots Crossing, or would it be somebody else? I don't think half the lots are sold yet. But that is what keeps the water from running out.
Yeah.
The only good thing about that, the little kids like it because there's a retention pond just beside my house, and it gets 8 foot deep and they can swim. But yeah, they love it. But I was thinking about that creek or whatever it is along the cornfield, the Baptist church, under Roosevelt and out to 140. It seems like there's not enough water that can go down through there.
Honestly, I don't know if that's ours or not. You're talking, the backside of Patriots there is right on the line.
Okay.
Quite frankly, I'm going to have to look at the maps to see that one. So you're saying a big section is ours? Or, okay.
I know the farmer back there has talked to the city in years past and told them they need to clean that out, and that would eliminate some of the water in there. I mean, I like where I live in Patriots Crossing, but I'm probably going to move. My house's value's gone down quite a bit. I mean, the lady that lived there before for 7 years said she didn't have any water problems, and I'm on 2.5 years, and my basement's been flooded twice.
December and July?
Yes, sir.
Yep. That's the
But
common thread.
There's a lot of water on that end of town, and I do think it's that creek or whatever it is back there, if it was cleaned out, it could take a ton of water. And I guess if there's no other options, Austin's got 3-story building, we could all move to the 3rd floor.
I got a series of questions, and I'm going to try to tie this together. One, excuse me? Oh, is that better? All right, thank you. I mean, I can do it without it. You had talked about, hello? You talked about when you're repairing those lines, you use like a Chinese finger and you pull a bag through there, okay? And I don't know what the process is there. But in the process of that, are you then narrowing the inside diameter of that pipe?
Very, yeah, it's 1/8 of an inch.
Okay. So
And basically what it's doing is when they run that sock through there, it's going through basically an epoxy mix. They pull it through literally from one manhole to the next, so it's roughly a 400-foot span there. They then pump steam into it under pressure, causes it to form fit against the pipe, cures in a matter of minutes, and it's very similar to having a PVC pipe in place there. So it's very strong. It's got a very long life expectancy. We see that as a permanent fix, and not a Band-Aid.
well, my concern was the interior of the pipe being shrunk, which lessens the capacity. Okay, with that being said, you were talking about people dumping their gutter water into the drain, okay? What's to stop somebody, they're running that black hose all the way out to the end of the street, the last inch or two, it's gonna, water is water, it's gonna seek its low spot, the only thing you can do is slow it down. So, you're still gonna have water. No matter what you look, you're gonna slow it down a little bit.
Our concern is those being tapped into to the sanitary sewers, okay? So if we're talking about somebody running out to the storm sewer, that's a little bit of a different issue. Our concern about the when Rod mentioned the illegal tap-ons is running the downspouts or the sump pumps directly into the sanitary sewers. That's a big problem for us.
Do we not have spots where the sanitary sewer and the storm drain are tied together?
No,
We don't.
no. Well, not by design. Our big problem, of course, is this infiltration issue. Our sanitary sewer is supposed to be completely encapsulated. The storm sewer and the sanitary sewer should never mix. In our case, we're getting considerable amounts of water infiltrating into the defects on the system, and that's why we're seeing stormwater getting into the sanitary system.
I got one other thing. I know everybody keeps talking about these backflow preventers. I have one in my house, okay, and as somebody had mentioned, you have to maintain those, because when you still get the intense back pressure, and I've lived at my house 8 years, and there's been more than these 2 occasions that sewer backs up and starts pushing water in. It'll help you, but when you got them gully washers like we had, don't plan on showering, don't plan on flushing the toilet. All it's going to do is hold it back. And I also remember those come in a cast iron type, those come in PVC type, and I talked to, I forget the supplier down there on Broadway that sells those. I know he was telling me down in Wood River, which they're basically under river level. Years back, those PVC ones, some of them just blew out right in the basement, just blew apart. So it's a stopgap. It's not the cure-all. So just bear that in mind. If you had one put in, and they can be costly, you have to maintain them, and don't plan on showering or using the toilet. That's all I have.
What area of town do you live in?
Live on Heatherland Drive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, obviously, the fact that we're all here, we're all in crisis because we spent thousands of dollars and still have sewer water in our basement. You were talking about that EPA small interest loan. Like, at what point, it seems like we're in crisis. It's been going on for a really long time. Like, at what point is that we got to fix this and we have to fix it soon?
You're right.
mean, that's
We
just
actually, the board, we met in committee last night, and we did have some discussions here. Now, the budget, of course, was in place a few months ago. Quite frankly, some of the talk that we had was even the possibility of shutting down some other projects in order to concentrate more on this issue. Part of our decision-making, quite frankly, is this meeting here, just trying to find out just exactly how significant. I mean, we knew we had a significant event, trying to really get a handle on how widespread it is.
And Mayor, what future projects are you kind of talking about?
The biggie is the second sports complex. You know, we've got to sit.
That's where I was going with this.
All right. Well, so here we go.
I know what you're saying. That's why I was asking what.
Yeah, one thing that we're having to look at here, you know, and I mean, we're all in on that project. There's no going back. But under these circumstances, you know, we budgeted $500,000 to go into that park. Now, a bunch of that is going to be offset with grants, so it's not nearly as much. But the bottom line is, what we're grappling with is, okay, so we got a quality of life issue here with the parks, and it's a great thing. But this sewer issue, there is so much more gravity to this. And if we can't do everything at once, the sewers are going to have to be the project that takes priority.
Okay, I've lived in my house for 5 years now. I live on Hom Street, the beginning part of Hom Street, and the drainage ditch that runs back behind my property and the airport property, nobody maintains it. Us homeowners have to maintain something that it's not our property. The drainage back there is so horrible that it runs through our houses and it overloads our sump pumps and all that, causing the backup. I had 4 to 5 inches of water in my basement. and I paid $1,700 just for somebody to come out because I had sewer water and water backup, and I can't do all that by myself.
Do you live on the west side of Hom or on the south side?
I live closer to 140. So my house was, from my house to 140, where the water was covering the roads, that's my area.
Yep, you were ground zero right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I just can't keep affording to fork out money. I've waterproofed my basement, I've enlarged my sump pump, and I don't know what else to do. I can't afford to keep paying for something that could be prevented.
Sure. The drainage ditch, which side of the fence is it on? The drainage ditch behind your property?
Yeah, it's back behind my property. We mostly all have like, it's back behind my fence. So in order for me to maintain that, I literally have to go through my neighbor's property to mow that back there.
Okay. Is that your property or is that airport property?
That's airport's property, but
Okay.
nobody maintains it. Airport says it's Bethalto's job. Bethalto says it's the airport's property. And the 5 years that I've worked, or 5 years that I've lived there, I've never seen anybody out there trying to do anything with that drainage ditch.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one last thing. Since this is such a known problem now, Bethalto requires occupancy permits for moving into any home. Is this going to be disclosed to people who are moving in going forward that there is a problem? Because if we had known 7 years ago when we bought our house, then we probably would not have bought our house.
How many times you flooded in those 7 years?
5, 6.
Really? Okay.
In the last 15 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know it's getting progressively worse, but, you know, going forward, until it is fixed and it's no longer an issue, is it something that, I mean, I don't want to discourage people from moving to Bethalto, but people need to know this is a problem.
And the other problem, we do have flood insurance. And one of the floods, our insurance company covered us. And I even asked, I said, if this keeps happening, what happens? And they said, we drop you.
Yeah.
So then I lose my homeowner's insurance and I can't get anyone else to cover me, or I have to spend even more money to get that covered. So I'm eating all the costs. Just in the last year, I'm $35,000 in cash. I don't take loans, I don't buy on credit, that's hard cash out of my bank. And the last time, the previous insurance company said, well, just try to sue us. It's to the point where I'm ready to sue, because I've never wanted to be in litigation in my life. I'm not like that, don't want to. I said it before, I can't afford to live here anymore. We're personally, we had to pick up human feces out of our basement because we can't spend the $3,000 to pay someone to come in and do it.
Yeah.
It was to the point, we discussed walking away from our house. I have clearance that I would lose, but I don't want to be there anymore. And I feel a lot of people probably have the same way.
Yeah.
Our house values are fair.
I've heard those comments.
We're stuck. We are stuck. And we don't know what to do anymore. And I'm not trying to unload on you guys. I know it's new to you, but
Hey,
there's a lot
the
of
buck stops here.
frustration.
Yeah.
What are you and Beisner doing, anything?
This is really not considered to be a state level issue, no. Matter of fact, we had made some inquiries to see if there was any kind of assistance available. This was too small of a geographic area. When that storm hit, this last one that has caused so much trouble, it was primarily, as I understand, Bethalto, Morrow, Meadowbrook. It was described to me the cell just opened up right over the top of us and just didn't move. So geographically, FEMA, no, you're not going to see any of the state agencies or the federal agencies get involved with this because geographically it is such a small area. Now, to all of us, you know, if you got $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 of damage, that's significant, and especially when you look at the number of people in this room, we're talking about a lot of money. but on the scale for the state and feds to get involved, we're not even a blip on the radar. Well, I don't know about that, and we'd even made inquiries with the county. The county has a couple of different agencies that provides assistance.
This gentleman up here and his wife, that's a lot of money.
Sure it is.
About the sports center, the quality of life. My quality of life is at home,
Yep.
not at a sports center. It's gotta start at home.
I agree. Yep. Yes. To go all the way through? Well, I got to pull the interceptor out because I really don't have solid figures there. We're ballparking that $4 million range on that one. But realistically, we're thinking close to $3 million on the rest of the village here. Now, but I'm going to tell you straight up, there's no engineer's numbers on that or anything. That is just based on smaller pieces that we have priced out and multiplying that out to be able to get the rest of the system done. Well, it would, and here's where it could be. If, as the guys are cleaning these pipes out and running the cameras through, if we find that there is a significant number of collapses, that's going to drive the cost up substantially because those can't be lined. We have to replace them. So there could very well be some areas in town where we've got a lot of collapses, and it will cost more. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, we've talked about money, not having enough money to do it, and we've talked about budgets, and we've talked about audits. You said we're audited every year, but you don't know where any of that money went. Can we have an answer?
I'll be glad to supply all the audit reports to you.
How can you not know where hundreds of thousands of dollars go?
Well, as I said, that was before I came in.
But you were audited. There should be answers.
Yeah, and I'll be glad to supply those audit reports
Okay.
anyway. But that's why I was very adamant when I said I don't believe there was any wrongdoing done, because to my understanding, the auditors have never flagged us for, anything as far as substantial amounts of money missing.
Okay.
I don't really need the mic. I don't need the mic. I don't have a problem. This is actually a positive, but I think in situations like this, the unsung heroes and the ones who usually catch the most heat are some men in this room that are that work for the city, and they get pulled out of their beds in the middle of the night to get pumps out, to gas those pumps, to fix them, to go through the street to make sure things are clear and to pick up brush. And they usually catch most of the heat on Facebook, and they're standing around and all that. So I'm not going to point them out in this room because they wouldn't want me to do that, but I think we should thank those men that get up and leave their beds in the middle of the night when situations like this arise.
Thanks for recognizing them. We got one back here.
I think the biggest concern is that this doesn't only happen when we have a huge amount of rain like we did a few weeks ago. This, in our personal situation, this happens 3 times a year probably, just with a normal, it is a heavy rain, but it's not anything out of the ordinary. And it is sewer, and it is coming up through our drains in our basement. And I think the biggest issue is we have to keep, incurring those costs, of course, for cleanup, for all the personal property loss. But my personal opinion is we are supposed to keep our homes maintained. Our roof, if it's leaking, we have to repair it. As a homeowner, we keep our homes up to code through city ordinances, all the rules. Why is there no responsibility on your guys' end as far as keeping your city sewer up to code?
There absolutely is responsibility there.
But as far as there is not any responsibility when you're not going to reimburse us, knowing there's been a problem, and we have had to deal with this several times a year.
Well,
So that's
let me-
where the frustration is, I think,
Sure.
with everyone, is that it's not just a normal rain. I mean, it's not just happening when it rains a lot. It is a normal rain when it happens. And, you know, it's been a known problem. Personally, I have complained for years now that I've lived in my current home.
Okay.
And I kept getting pushed away, saying it was an act of God. Well, obviously it is an act of God, but God didn't break the clay pipes and cause the rainwater to go into the sewer system. So that is where the frustration is. We're not getting any answers or anything close to what we're wanting to hear as far as the money lost in this whole
Okay.
situation.
The only thing that I can offer you at this point, which I believe you've already taken the steps for, is to file an insurance claim with us. Okay? We don't have, you know, a pot of gold, you know, to reimburse people. It's just not there. That's something you'd have to, I'm sorry? Well, no, I understand, and it, you know, you're being very frank there, and you're correct. Mhm. Yeah. No, I get it. That's why we carry insurance. Okay, then you'll take that to a different level to deal with our insurance carrier. Okay?
And we're also in a situation, I don't know about you, but I have to replace my hot water heater. That's $500. So it's in a box in my basement. It's being replaced on my dime. So I install that. And my furnace isn't working either, which I guess I'll address before fall. But so I replace my appliances only for this to happen again next spring, next rainy season, December perhaps, because last December wasn't great. You know, I have Old Faithful in my basement.
Yeah.
It's not cool, but do I replace my appliances and then just be out that money again for this to happen again? I mean, I know look, I get it. The big picture is long-term solutions. We need short-term solutions as well.
We've got enough splash parks and ballparks and soccer fields and stuff, it's time to fix the sewers. Yes. We want our sewer fixed. We got sewer water in our basement, and we're, you know, we're building parks and splash parks, you got parks out here. You know, it's time to fix the stuff that really matters to the people.
Mhm.
You know, it's just
You're correct.
time. Whether you shut down all these other projects and allocate that money to this is extremely important. And this just ain't everybody, it's just a small group of people. Our whole neighborhood was flooded. And it don't take a 7-inch rain, it takes a 2-inch rain, or an inch and a half, and I got sewer water coming up the bottom.
Mhm.
So this is important to us. I mean, we got enough ballparks. Let's fix the sewers.
Okay, let me address a couple things here. Rod touched on it a little bit earlier. The projects that are fully paid by the grants, we probably will go ahead and proceed with, because it's not out of our pocket, okay? Now, I'd mentioned to the gentleman over here about the sports complex and that. There is a little bit grant money there, but not nearly enough to finish the job, so I'm guessing the board's probably going to take a real close look at that and probably could put the kibosh on it. Now, okay, now, another thing has come up here that I've picked up on a couple of times. There was, I mentioned, I believe the young lady over here about not knowing that we had the dumpsters and different things here. We try to get the word out whenever something's going on around here, but it seems like we have a difficulty in our communication. We typically, when we have an event or any kind of a public notice, we put it on Facebook. I do my personal Facebook. We notify the media whenever we have issues. You know, and that includes the radio station, RiverBender, Telegraph, you know, trying to get this information out. But it seems like every time something big happens, I hear a lot about, well, we didn't know. Would it be possible, just starting with the group here, if we could put together a community email list where we could be able to contact you relatively quickly whenever something's going on here? Yes, sir.
To go along with that, something along the lines of what School Reach does.
Mm-hmm.
Both my kids are in Bethalto schools, and we get calls almost when school's in session, almost daily regarding whatever events are coming up or just any type of information that the schools have.
Okay.
If we could put together something town-wide to get everyone's information, and then just a mass call, a mass email, a mass text, that would probably alleviate a lot of these issues of, I didn't hear anything, I didn't know anything about it.
Where's Tim Brown at? Oh, okay. Non-emergency situations where we're just doing a public notification, could we use the Code Red system on that?
I can always call Larry and ask about that.
County has a system set up very similar to that, but my belief that it has been primarily for emergency, but I guess an emergency is in the eye of the beholder, so maybe we can do something with that. I'm sorry? We actually, and we have been remiss there. We've got a new webpage we're getting ready to launch. My guess is, we're populating pages right now. My guess is it'll probably be 4 or 5 weeks out. And it's got 20 times the amount of information on it that the current one does. The nice thing about that, and what you're going to see, it actually has a banner across that will be breaking news, you know, different things like that. So that'll be a big improvement.
We have beta tested an automatic text similar to what the park department uses to inform their teams of rainouts, their coaches of rainouts. Similar thing could be done where people would contact us and all they'd have to do is text a certain code word to this particular number, and then anytime we have an announcement that we need to go out, it would automatically go to everybody who is in that group text. We've beta tested it. I don't know what the capacity of it is at the moment. I don't know if it's 300 people, 1,000 people, 1,500 people, but that would be a very quick way. Anybody who has a smartphone would be able to get a text from us anytime we would put out an announcement. That might be something. It's similar to the Code Red, but it wouldn't be used in in an emergency situation. So that might be something that would be an answer to that.
And all we would need would be the cell number. We wouldn't need names, addresses, anything else, right?
No, all we would need, well, in fact, they would actually, they just type in a number, text, code word to 73589, whatever, and they would automatically be put in that group text. And any time that we, from our text site, send out an announcement, big trash pickup, October 24th, 25th, everybody would get that.
So if I ask these folks tonight to just jot their cell number down on those papers in the back?
No, they have to make the first step. They would have to make the first text to us.
Okay.
So we need to release what that text number and the code word is before they could join it.
All right, so we can put that on the website then?
Exactly.
All right, all right. Well, we could we do that on the existing site?
Yeah, but give me a couple days to research it to find out what the capacity is, because I mean, if it's only good for 100 people, then that's not the answer. But I would say check the website. early next week or by the end of this week, and we ought to be able to know, whether or not we can do that. But I think that might be a way to fix that communication problem, or at least some of it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Going forward, I don't know if I'll leave the mic or not. These future subdivisions, I mean, let's face it, this town was built on basically farm fields, flat farm fields for the most part in the beginning, and they were wildcat subdivisions. There was no planning at that time, there was no engineering, there was no dirt work, you put up a house, you hooked on. And I'm not sure we've evolved that much in our own subdivision planning and zoning here in the city. I don't know, or in the village, how much dirt work is I mean, do we get engineering, or do we put in things like Cape Reed's Crossing with?
The developers are required to submit engineered and stamped drawings whenever they're going to put a new development up.
But it's all that displacement from the pavement, the roof lines, and you have it running the same way, where we should probably have something similar to what they do out in the transportation hub off 255 for the water table, with a gully all around.
Well,
This,
the standard for, I don't know, the past several years has been, anytime there's a new development put up, is the use of detention areas. Quite frankly, my personal experience has been that's kind of a mixed bag. We've got a couple areas that seems to work all right, and we got a couple areas where it doesn't. But that's,
they have to be looked at a little more closely, so that we don't end up perpetuating the problem.
yes, sir.
One of the major things you have to remember is every one of these new subdivisions was built in an old cornfield. And as we dig the last 30 years, I cannot tell you how many foundations, I've seen the clay tile coming out on this side of the foundation hole, and it exits on this side of the foundation hole. Now, after you put in 100% of that foundation, you have 100% of the sump pumps working. When you're dealing with a subdivision that's only 20, 30, 40% full, you don't have enough sump pumps, so you're pumping every vacant lot in your area. So if you're gonna survive this next 10 years, you better get prepared. Secondary sump pumps, pumps that go from your sanitaries to your sump pumps. These are things I've done. Hard plugs in place. When you know you got a hard rain coming, shove the plug down in your floor drain and snug it down. Because if you don't, you're not gonna survive this next 10 years. I've been battling this for 15, 20 years, and it's my new stuff. It's my new house, my big duplex up on Central. My new house on Sheridan Street. She got 8 inches of water in her basement. We have no sewers coming in through the floor. We have a pump-up station in the basement. She didn't have any choice. The water went from her sump pump hole over to the pump-up station for the sanitaries, pumped it up, pumped it to the street. It was just a vicious cycle. It's not the money, it's getting prepared ahead of time. If you know your existing problems, don't keep getting bit. Get prepared. Because I'm living proof we can do a lot better than what we did 10 years ago, because some of these houses have made major improvements. I'm telling you again, it's my new ones. It's the ones that we were prepared for. Clay tile all the way around, huge rock pits. Those are the ones I'm having major problems with, where 2 brand new sump pumps can't keep up. It's following the central system of our houses, right back up our ditches with our main sewers, underneath your house, and then you have to deal with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we encouraging development of homes? Is that what we want? And
We need the tax base.
Well, here's,
and if so, would we consider impact fees?
such as what Edwardsville did with the school district? Is that what you're, okay. I'm sorry. She'd ask if we are encouraging residential growth, and if we are, would we consider impact fees? Impact fee basically is an upfront tax on the property that if you're gonna build a house, you gotta give us $5,000 for the privilege of doing so. That's about what that amounts to. I'm sorry? Well, yeah, and that's where I'm headed. the key to really fixing the finances around here, in addition to continuously trying to cut costs where we can, is bringing new money in through the business development. Now, we got a problem. If you look around town, you're going to see where most of the 111 frontage is taken up by the airport. 140 frontage is either airport or cemetery. Even on Moreland Road, got all that airport there. If you look at the areas that we have available for commercial development, they're all relatively small lots. It's just absolutely made me sick a couple of times. I've had some inquiries from some businesses looking to come into the area, but they need 25, 30 acres. And folks, we don't, outside of the airport fence, we don't have it. We don't have anything of that size. I'm sorry?
Places that you think should be Bethalto area that are so close
Oh. Believe it or not, Edwardsville, as I understand, actually has a larger geographic area than the city of St. Louis. Because they stretch all the way down, all the way down to 111 down here. Well, actually, they did eventually make those strip annexations illegal because of, well, the impact that it has on the neighbors there. Anyway, getting back to the business issue. We've got an area that's on the old Wayside Estates property. And folks, I know you've been hearing this for probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years. Oh, there's this big development coming. Well, it is actually getting a little closer. Last November, they did finally obtain all of the necessary permits to be able to go ahead and proceed with the project. I have had communication from the project director. They have reached an agreement with their anchor tenant, which is a 110,000 square foot facility. I do not know what it is. They're being very tight-lipped about it. And there's a couple others that they're working with before they actually break ground. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen this year or next year. Okay, I'm totally in the dark there, other than that they're telling me that they are in the process of signing contracts. But that's only one spot. You know, we've been talking with a developer about trying to put a hotel in down at the southwest corner of 140 and 255. I got another individual that's looking at a little strip center on the north side of 140, close to where Myers Welding is. We got there's some things that are happening, but what I'm finding up here at the main intersection in town is everybody seems to be waiting for the big one. For the Wayside Estates property. So I think what's going to happen is when they finally pull the cork and get going on that project, I think that's when we're going to see these other areas surrounding there are going to immediately start with some business development. But nobody wants to make the move until the big guy comes in. So that's kind of the position we're there. We've got a couple of smaller areas where there's some things going in. There's a small building being constructed out at the airport by Fitness and Fun. That's a new business coming into town. We had a meeting last night with some folks looking to build a 63,000 square foot facility out off of Moreland Road. But we're far from being able to finalize that, but you know, they've been in and made the presentation. But what we're really after is the retail business. We got to get the sales tax. So it's a combination. Somebody comes in, for instance, when this Wayside property finally does go, we're looking at substantial increases in the property taxes, and we're also looking at a piece of the pie off of the sales tax. And that's what our focus needs to be. Now, do we want new residents? Sure. The whole idea behind ballparks and frisbee golf and splash pads and all this stuff, it's to bring young families in to revitalize the community. That's what that's all about, okay? But here we are talking about a situation here that, quite frankly, I think is kind of derailing that a little bit. But what I want you folks to walk away with tonight is that and there's no, I'm not blowing smoke at anybody here. Number one, we recognize full well that we got a major, major problem here. We know it's having a very negative impact on the lives of a ton of people in town. We've already started on the remediation of this thing. We're planning on continuing it. I mean, the board has bought in for this to be a multi-year project. I mean, you have a long-term commitment. This is not going to stop until it's finished. Okay? So we've had the direction. Our engineer did a ton of work on this for us. We submitted the plan to the EPA late last year. We got the approval on it this spring. Immediately after we got the approval, we started the work. If anybody would like to see the plan, I did bring copies of it with me. Be prepared for a long read. It's about that thick. But there's a lot of work to do. But, you know, the position that we're in here is we've got this huge section of town that has an aging, deteriorating sewer system. We got to fix it. Okay? We're not skirting any kind of responsibility here. We know what you guys are going through. Most of us have had the same issue. We're serious about it, and I hope that you walk away from here tonight knowing that even though we may still have these same meetings for the next couple of years, because we're not going to be able to fix it really, really quickly, but we are on it. There will be progress, and just with what we're doing over probably the next 6 to 8 months, we're sure that it's going to have a positive impact throughout the whole system. But it's a combination of doing the pipe work and the ditching. So, you know, folks, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that you've all had to go through this, but your comments are not falling on deaf ears. You've got a united group here between the board, the Public Works, me. We realize what a huge impact this is, and this has to be the #1 priority. Okay. Have I missed anyone? Steve?
I want to commend you for holding me, okay, #1. But I have to tell you that I'm going to come away from this meeting a little disappointed because every time I leave the house, I feel like I have to put a standpipe in my shower. I put in a $3,000 backflow valve to take care of that problem. I have to put a plug in my drain, and my drain is in the basement. And you're talking about taking 8 years to fix this problem. So I'm gonna have to do this every time I leave the house for a night on the town, or an overnight, or a vacation. So it seems to me, and you said that you weren't willing to even consider a $3 million bond issue to fix this problem within 1 or 2 years instead of 8 years. For us to live through this for 8 years, I don't find that to be satisfactory at all.
Okay, well, let me lay.
I appreciate what you and the trustees are trying to do, but 8 years, that's not acceptable to me at all.
Okay, let me see if I can fix a little bit of that for you. 8 years is what we think it's going to take us, and that's minimum, okay, to get through every foot of pipe in this town. Now, what we think is going to happen, and we're relatively certain of it, is that as we are making the improvements, every improvement we make is going to reduce the amount of inflow system-wide. So even though, let's say next spring, we finished up with the Fairway area and we finished up with the airport area, that's nowhere close to you. But what we've done is we've eliminated all that water on that end from coming in and surcharging the system. I'm not telling you you're not going to get flooded out in the next year or two. I can't do that. But what I'm saying is we're pretty optimistic here that as we work, that it will be a system-wide improvement, because we will definitely be having less water coming through. So I don't think 8 years is how long you're going to have to wait. Now, I get it. Yeah, I understand. We could. I'm just going to be real honest with you here. I don't know that we could handle the payment. Well, okay. I'm sorry? Nothing comes free. We've tried really hard to hold the line. Matter of fact, we just, last November, we reduced our property tax by 8%. That's been a big goal, is to try to bring the cost down, because we know everybody's hurting anymore. Aside from sewer, we know the equalized valuations are all down. Everybody's been taking a hit. We've just done a number of things to try to get the costs down. So to turn right around and say, yeah, let's just go ahead and borrow $3 million, I'll back up a little bit, okay? Instead of saying, I'm sorry?
I'll pay $200 more a year to save $35,000.
Point well took. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Mayor, something to consider is how much cost did all the people in town incur this last year? It probably was $3 million.
Oh, I'm sure.
At least, okay? That's a factor. That's true. We got big costs.
All right, we'll consider that on the table again. Okay? So we'll have discussions about that with the board. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you for doing this, and I know this wasn't what was going to be discussed, but I think it's important that what you guys have done tonight is very helpful, and I would like to see it done quarterly. Maybe, I know that we have village meetings, but there's an agenda to follow, but I think just having quick discussions with everybody, and again, we thank you and your staff and everybody for their hard work, because it is not an easy job, and we know that this is not an easy subject to talk about. So we thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, but I got to tell you, as big as an impact as this has had, just, phone calls and emails weren't just not going to cut it. I mean, we just knew we had to get face to face with everybody here. So, and the big thing is, I feel like I can personally do a better job of expressing to you just how serious that I am taking this. This is definitely going to be our priority. So why don't we do this? I think we're pretty well wrapped up. I don't see any more hands coming up here as far as the sewer issue. I did introduce to you earlier the department heads and the board members. What I would like to encourage is, if you have any other issues, if you need to talk to the police department or fire department or zoning or anybody, take the opportunity now while we've got everybody face to face. And what we will do is, since we did have to put so much of our time today on this particular issue, we will do a follow-up meeting, let's say probably about 3 months down the road. Hopefully at that point, the sewer issues will be not quite as time-consuming, and we can talk about some other issues, because there's a lot of things going on in the community. So if I could have the board members stand up again. So there they are. And of course, I'm up here and Rod's up here. If you have anything you'd like to talk to any of us about individually, please do so. But I thank you for coming, and under such a tense situation, I thank you for being so nice to us. Thank you.